Hello guys, thank you so much for being with me in another machine learning tutorial video. Okay, the next discussions we have about classification are very dependent on regression. To make sure you have the minimum knowledge required for the lesson on regression, you should do the implementations in Python. Again, I emphasize on implementations in Python and the Python files which are available for you. We do not have the opportunity to teach a Python programming language here, but to the extent that it is needed for this area, we will have an overview. The Python programming language is a very simple language and includes various libraries. Here we will deal more with the NumPy library in the coding files that I have provided for you. I have included complete explanations for practical exercises. I strongly suggest that you read them and do the exercises in them. As I have mentioned to you in these files, this language is very practical and has a special library for every purpose, which is very easy to work with. If you don't have Anaconda installed on your system, be sure to install it from the link in the files and enter Jupyter Notebook and start coding. The Python language, like any other programming language, includes a series of basic rules that I have included in the files for you. There are two ways to execute, to run commands inside each cell, inside each notebook file. Either use the program icon at the top, the running actually icon at the top of the screen, or use the combination shortcut keys which are Shift plus Enter. I strongly suggest that you prepare training courses related to the Python programming language. Read their contents and practice regularly to achieve the necessary expertise in the field of Python programming. Becoming a machine learning expert will not be possible unless you acquire the necessary programming expertise. Among the existing programming languages, the best and the most widely used and of course the most popular language is the Python language programming, Python programming language actually. In programming, the name we assign to each variable is called the identifier. Be sure to read the descriptions in the files. Pay attention that when programming in Python, in order to be able to access the components of a module, we must import that module. In that Python programming language, the percent sign is a placeholder. It means that something is going to replace it later. Python's goal is to make the programmer's job easier. If you want to get information about how each function inside Python works, you can easily use the help command. Python is one of the languages that you don't need any class or book to learn. You can get the knowledge you need with the help command. Of course, provided that you have a basic knowledge of the programming space. In Python, we can access the members of lists using indices, or for example, there is another important data structure in Python called set. The important feature of these is that they do not have duplicate members. Therefore, in Python, whenever the goal was to eliminate repetitions, we should use this data structure. Be sure to read the explanations in the files yourself. We will not spend more time reviewing Python, trying to practice working with Python yourself. The main discussion here are matrices and vectors. You have to do these instructions yourself. Get help from the help command, get some programming knowledge, practice and improve your knowledge again with the help of the help keyword in Python. So the important thing is to practice consistently. In machine learning, everything is vector because the computer only understands numbers. For example, each image is a set of numbers. These numbers are inside the matrices. In order to use matrices in Python, we need the NumPy library. If you install Anaconda, you have installed all the libraries you need. Because you are going to use the word numpy many times and it is hard, it is difficult because it needs to insert many characters, we give an alias to this library. For example, NP. This is a general nickname of this NumPy among Python programmers actually. If you are not using Anaconda and need to install this library, I have written the installation instructions for you, and the library that was not installed in your system, you can install it inside Jupyter Notebook itself. Well, let's go to the arrays in mathematics. We call a one-dimensional array a vector, a two-dimensional array a matrix. You can see the code related to defining arrays. There are all available in the Python files which are prepared for you. If print is not in this cell, in a cell in Python file, in addition to printing the value of the array inside the print instruction, the type of array can also be seen in the output. These are some tips about the actually some functions and commands in the Python. There are available in the Python files. Pay attention to the Python files. Here we wanted to produce matrix, in the Python files with rows and 2 columns for more readability. We sometimes prefer to separate rows of matrices with an enter. There are other ways to practice matrices. Obviously, when the number of rows and columns of a matrix is very large, it is not reasonable to insert elements one by one. In these cases, we must use the arrange command. Another way is to use the linspace command, which is very popular in Python. For example, this command is very useful in drawing shapes in Python. The value corresponding to the non-variable in the commands in the Python files corresponds to the number of numbers seen in the output. There are some just explanations. You will figure out all of them by paying attention to the Python files. There is another command in Python which is np-ones. In the np-ones command, ones are used to generate the matrix. We must give the dimensions of this matrix as a tuple and as an input to this command. We didn't say anything about the type of numbers inside the matrix. You can see that it defaults to decimal. Considering actually it defaults to float. We call a decimal in Python float numbers. Considering that float numbers require a lot of memory and that their calculations are very time consuming, it is better to choose the for example int32 type of numbers to achieve optimality and avoid running out of memory and filling up the GPU. Or for example 16-bit and 8-bit integers can also be used to increase memory efficiency when possible. If you want to define a matrix of 2s, for example, we define a matrix of 1s and multiply the result by 2. The rule of multiplying a number in a matrix is that this number is multiplied by all elements of the matrix. Also in Python, an array of zeros can be generated. In two-dimensional arrays, we use 2 pairs of parentheses when defining them, and there will be 2 pairs of nested brackets in the outputs. In one-dimensional arrays, the definition is done with a pair of parentheses and a pair of brackets is seen in the outputs. Generating random vectors and matrices are very useful in the field of machine learning. Be sure to run the cells yourself one by one. I have put the explanations as a comment for you. A very widely used command among random commands is the randn command. This command uses standard normal distribution instead of uniform distribution. That is, it generates random numbers with this probability. Here you can see that in the Python files, actually you can see that the closer we are to the center, the more likely it is to generate numbers in this range. When the probability distribution is standard normal, more than 68% of the numbers will be produced in the interval of mu minus sigma and mu plus sigma. If we increase the interval by 1 sigma, more than 95% of the numbers will be produced in this interval, and almost 100% of the numbers will be produced in the interval of 1 sigma more. In Python, if we do not initialize a mu and sigma, it is considered as 0 and 1 by default. The issue of generating random numbers is very important in computer science. We can generate a large number of numbers from this command and draw their corresponding figure, actually their histogram, to see if these numbers really have a normal distribution or not. The histogram function is inside the matplotlib library, so we have to import this library. If we want the shape to be more accurate, we need to generate more numbers. Pay attention to this equation and the corresponding example. If we want to have a normal distribution with a center mu and a spread sigma, I can multiply the standard normal distribution by sigma and added mu. The unit matrix can be defined with I command. Since this matrix is square, it takes only one entry. Be sure to run each cell yourself. If you have any questions about the commands, be sure to use the help command. Over time, you will gain the necessary expertise. There is no other shortcut, and the only way to become an expert in this field is a lot of continuous practice elements can be accessed through indices. In the case of the tuple data structure, the function gen from txt generates the metrics from text files. Okay, these were just some explanations about the Python programming languages. I emphasize again to practice more and more in order to reach a high level of expertise in programming at first, and then machine learning concepts. Have a nice time.